Yo, what is up, Karma Nation? We are back at it again for another prop party pod on this NFL Week 6. I'm excited to get right back into it. We had a short week, but no Thursday Night Football, so it's a little depressing there. But we're back at it again for our Saturday pod. I am here with Ethan to break down monkeyknifefight.online and prizepicks.online. Make sure to use promo code KARMA. That'll give you a nice little deposit bonus and a free play. So how are you doing today? How was your week?
I am doing wonderful. The Astros coming back to force a game 7. My Astros.
The
Big
cheaters.
game, yeah, shut up. Big game 7 tonight. Hopefully gonna book our third World Series ticket out of the last 5 years. So I'm excited. We got a good slate of NFL this weekend. We got golf going on this weekend, college football. It is sports heaven right now. So I'm ready to get after it.
Yeah, you excited to watch the Astros maybe win their first World Series without cheating?
Yankees got caught cheating, Red Sox, Patriots. The big difference is, we won the World Series. Obviously they didn't cheat enough. So,
Yeah, guess they weren't good enough.
yeah, I guess not. So, but hey, they're proving a lot of people wrong right now. So let's hope they can pull off a game 7 tonight. If not, I'll be one sad motherfucker.
Yeah,
So,
you needed to bet on them when they were down 3-0, but make some good money.
yeah, I wonder what that line was. I live in Texas, obviously, Houston area, so I can't play on DK Sportsbook or FanDuel Sportsbook, and I don't do those other crappy overseas sites.
Those overseas,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I don't do that. I tried. I tried one of them before, and I just hated it. The whole withdrawal thing was a big pain in the ass, so I don't do it. But once DK Sportsbooks gets into Texas, I'm going to be on that site a ton.
Yeah, it's the
So
best. I
I
think they
hope
were
people put
plus
money.
2,800 when they were down 3-0, so 28x.
Well, Joey, did you put some money on them?
Of course not. They're not going to win anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I have confidence in them. So, to recap though, Joey, last week we did fantastic on this pod.
Yeah?
Uh, 2 for 3. I mean, 2 out of our 3 monkey knife fight full game plays hit. And I think all of our prize picks plays hit on this pod. I know all the Carolina players went over. Ridley went over. Waller went over.
Yeah.
All the Baltimore pass catchers went over. I think Johnson went over for Texans. I think we went perfect on prize picks last week. So if you listen to this pod, you should have made a lot of money last week.
Yeah, we had a good week outside of just that Vikings second half prop. We had Dalvin Cook over. We hit everything else, and I maxed everything. And we hit everything except, of course, we have Dalvin Cook over because they're winning. And Madison puts up 100 rushing yards when his Cook's second half prop was 50 rushing yards. So everything besides that was a good week. And then we had Keenan Allen on Monday night get hurt as well, or Sunday night, whichever one the Chargers
Yeah.
played. So we
Injury.
got a little screwed with injuries. My account went down a good amount just because nothing you can do about injuries, especially when the backup comes in and doubles the prop.
Yeah.
You knew that was gonna hit. So
Yeah, but we did have a good night Tuesday night. We had some Tuesday night football.
Tuesday night football.
Buffalo and Tennessee. That game was very profitable for us in Discord. So we got the injury bug, with Cooks and Allen. But hey, we made it up. Kind of broke even thanks to some Tennessee Buffalo action Tuesday night. So hopefully we avoid the injuries this week and we straight profit. That's the goal.
Yeah,
Make some money.
yeah. Leaving last week behind with some bad beats and going for the green this week.
Yeah.
Gotta get that account back up. But let's see here. Make sure to follow our social medias. It's just DFS_Karma. Ethan dropped some prop plays, and I've been dropping some graphics that highlights our projection portals. Sam designs those. It's free on the website. You'll see all our projections for everybody. Nothing in depth about like stats or anything. You'd have to get the optimizer for that. But for free, you'll just see what fantasy points everyone's projecting, and you can use that for your props. I know we use that to start our research.
Yeah.
Just to get a nice baseline, see who's popping out in the metrics. But
Yeah,
It's always
and
a good
don't
starting point.
yeah, and don't forget, it's all free on DFS Karma website. Sam drops his projections on there, so make sure you check those out. Because I definitely, like you said, I start there every single week looking at Sam's projections for players. So
Yeah, make sure it's all DraftKings, so you get that full PPR, and most people aren't projected for the bonus. Rarely you'll see someone projected for 300 yards or 100 yards rushing or passing. So
yeah,
normally that's pretty accurate to the prop. But if someone's a little over projected that you see, it's probably just because they have the bonus. But
yeah,
other than that, most likely they don't. But if you have the optimizer, you'll see exactly how many passing yards, rushing yards, so you'll know if they're getting the bonus or not. But that's
yeah.
I think only like $40 a month. Not too bad.
No,
I've won some money off of it. I know Luke's been killing it with the optimizer, so it's pretty good. And we have core plays as well. That's $15 a week, $60 a month. Just a couple more months left in the season, so pretty good value. We should return most of that value, and I think Ben's still undefeated on FanDuel, 5-0, which
he
is
is.
pretty crazy. It's a amazing run he's got, and then he won on DK, so he said he started 1-3 and finished 12-5 last year, and he won this week, so he's ready for that heater. So hop on him while the water's hot. So we can start with we'll start with Monkey Knife Fight Online. I know you're gonna start off with the Detroit Jacksonville game. So what are you
Oh
looking
yeah.
at for that?
Um, I'm excited for this game. It has one of the highest totals on the week. I think it's tied for the highest or second highest. But the
Yeah,
total is 54.5. So there's going to be some major scoring in this game. Uh, I think, and both defenses are really bad. So I think, right, we got to start off with some injury news. DJ Shark is doubtful for tomorrow. So that takes a huge hit in the passing game. And you also have Chenault and Tyler Eifert who are questionable. So right off the bat, you have three pass catchers that are questionable or doubtful to play. So Jacksonville's going to have to lean on that running game big time in the first half, at least, while the game's still kind of neutral, or at least they're winning. So I love James Robinson over his fantasy points, 18.5, for multiple reasons. One, he has 17 targets in the last 3 weeks, so they have been getting him the ball more in the passing game. And Monkey Knife Fights PPR, so hey, each catch is 1 point. So that's a lot of targets. In addition, the Lions are really bad against the run. They're okay against the pass, but they are especially bad against the run. You just look week 1, Chicago. The Bears are an awful offense. Sorry, Joey, I know you're a big Nick Foles fan, but man, that offense is bad for the Bears.
it's
And
so
they
bad.
and they ran all over the Lions. Montgomery had, I think, 4.2 yards per carry. They don't run the ball a ton, but Montgomery, Cohen, they were all successful. So I think Robinson's a better runner than they are. And I don't see any reason why Robinson shouldn't get close to 100 yards rushing unless the Lions get up to like a 21-0 lead, beginning of the second quarter or something like that, which could happen, I guess you could say,
It's
but
just tough to
unlikely.
project that for sure.
Unlikely.
Yeah.
We saw Deshaun Watson throw all over this Jaguars defense last week. So I think James Robinson, though, can get his rushing yards and his receiving yards and at least one touchdown this game. I don't see, Jacksonville throwing for, a 70-yard touchdown pass or a 50-yard touchdown pass, especially if those three weapons sit. They just don't have the weapons to do that. So I like James Robinson over 18.5. And then on the other side of it, Galladay. Oh, boy, I love Galladay. Ever since he came into the league, he has been money for me.
Babytron,
Love Galladay.
best matchup of the week.
Yeah,
Jacksonville
best
is
matchup of
awful.
the week. The Jaguars give up the fourth most passing yards in the league. All right. Galladay leads the team in targets the last 2 weeks since he came back from injury. He has 15 targets. 15 in 2 weeks. No one else on the team is even close to that. All right. Galladay also has a touchdown in each of the last 2 games since coming back from injury. What does this sound like to you, Joey? A fantasy gold mine.
Oh yeah.
Please give me the Galladay over 16.5. I love it this week. It is my favorite play of the week. So and one thing you'll notice too, if you're looking at Monkey Knife Fight, the multipliers on the 2 for 2s are now 3.3x.
It's exciting.
It is very exciting. It is exciting times. So give me James Robinson over 18.5. Give me Kenny Galladay over 16.5. You look at what the Texans did last week. Deshaun Watson threw for over 300 yards. Brandon Cooks, who hadn't done jack shit all year, went over. He went crazy last week.
Insane.
I don't see why Galladay is not going to go for over 100 yards receiving, 5, 6, 7 catches. I love Galladay. I like the fantasy points more, I think. I know we have, so if you look to the right of the prop, you have Kenny Galladay over 5.5 catches, Robinson over 74.5 yards rushing. I like the over on both, but if you're only playing one, I like the fantasy points more just because I could see Galladay catching some long passes. Say he has 4 catches for like 90 something yards receiving and a touchdown.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if something like that were to happen, or 5 catches for 120 yards. He's a big play threat. So I caution you on Galladay. I like the Robinson over rushing, but I caution you on the Galladay over receiving. But, I mean, Joe, if you look at the target share, there is no one on this Lions team getting targets like Galladay is. So that's my free prop of the day. It is James Robinson over 18.5. Galladay over 16.5, and I am locking that in right now.
Yeah, since Galladay's been back, I think the targets he has 15 and Marvin Jones only has like 5, I believe.
Yeah.
If I checked earlier. So yeah, he's dominating the usage. If for some reason the Lions get down, which they obviously could, just because both teams are just so bad. It could be anyone's game really. Um, I could see the Lions being up 21-0. I could see the Jaguars being up 21-0 at half. So you never really know what's going to happen here. Both defenses suck.
And one thing, Joe, I want to point out real quick. There's another 2 for 2 on there. It's Marvin Jones, 12.5 fantasy points. Keelan Cole, 10.5 fantasy points. I know if Chenal sits, Shark sits, Keelan Cole's way too low for 10.5. I get it. And you're going to want to go over on that easily. And I think that's a great call. I love that.
Yeah, looks like our projections portal has Cole at 11.78 and Marvin Jones at 11.6. So,
but
it correlates nicely.
Like you said, Joe, 5 targets last 2 games. It's all Kenny Galladay in the passing game right now. It's a great matchup for Marvin Jones. It truly is. But I caution you on him because he just has not been active in the passing game since Kenny Galladay has been back. So he should go over. It's the perfect game for him to go over, but his usage is just really low right now with Kenny back.
Yeah, sometimes those ceilings are just terrifying. Just if the matchup's just so bad, it's so difficult to go under.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say he goes under, but you never know. Matt Stafford could easily just toss up 5 touchdowns today, and
you look at that Texans game. Texans won 30-14. They were winning that entire game, and Watson still threw for 359. Brandon Cooks went for 161 yards receiving. Will Fuller went for 58 yards receiving. You could see one of these touchdowns ending up in one touchdown, Jones is over easily. So
yeah, it's tough because he's projected for so little touchdowns. So if he gets that touchdown, then what is he? 3 catches for 30 yards, basically.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I think realistically, he's going to have 3-4 catches in this game probably.
Most likely, yeah.
Probably 40, 50 yards. So, I mean, if he catches that touchdown, you're prop screwed if you take the under. So, but something to keep our eye on. Who knows if Kenny gets matched up with Dylan, and we find out all those pass catching receivers are out. Guess what, Joey? I'm pounding the over on Cole. I'm pounding the over on Kenny.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. Either James Robinson's gonna end up with 8 receptions, or these Jaguars pass catchers need to catch some passes because they're just gonna get blown out if that's the case.
Yeah, I agree. So that's my favorite game. I mean, there's some other games I like, obviously, but we only pick one. So, Joey, what's your one game this week?
Yeah, I've been back and forth on the 2 games I like. Well, actually 3 games I'm looking at. But I think I'm going to end up with the Washington-New York game. I also like targeting the Houston-Tennessee game and then the Atlanta-Minnesota, but we'll save those for Discord. But But yeah, if we open up the Washington New York game, there's a couple things I like. These teams are really bad. Uh, I don't know how Washington ended up with that win, but these teams are basically two undefeated. Their combined records 1-9, so I'm not expecting anything crazy, but we can definitely end up seeing a shootout. With both these defenses being pretty bad. Giants defense is really bad, and the Washington defense isn't. Their front seven's pretty good, so we could see Daniel Jones getting a lot of issues really early. I know his fantasy props way too high on here. We can start off with that. He's 19.5, which I think we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Prize pick, he's 18.5. I like the unders on both of those. 19.5 is a little ridiculous just because the pressure Washington's able to get, even against really good teams, is just really high. They have Chase Young back again. He should be a little more healthy. He came back last week, but I'm expecting him to be even more healthy. At 19.5, we can go over the projections portal and check out what he's at. Daniel Jones is at 18.2.
Which is a
So
little uneven, I think.
it is a little high. What is his interceptions? I'm expecting one or maybe we could even see 3 turnovers for him. I think Washington's a sleeper defense in DFS this week. I don't know if they're getting a lot of noise, but they're definitely a good play.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones, I think he has 1 turnover in basically every game he's played in his entire career. So you can always just mark him down for at least 1 turnover.
Let me ask you this, Joey. Would you consider the Washington front seven better than Dallas's front seven?
Yeah, I think Washington's front seven's one of the better front sevens in the league. They definitely get slept on because they're not needed as much. Just because we're not going to see them, we're not going to see Washington winning many games, so they're not going to be featured as much. I mean, Cowboys are losing every game too, but
Well, and that's why I asked that, Joey. Is we saw what Daniel Jones did last week against Dallas. If he didn't put up a ton of fantasy points against Dallas, which I think Dallas has one of the worst defenses in the league, is he really going to do much better against Washington?
yeah, he should not at all.
I don't think so.
I could see him getting some garbage time work just because I don't trust the cornerbacks at all for Washington. So if New York's line's playing well, which I mean they could, they probably won't, but it's not impossible for them to do well. Daniel Jones can definitely have a good game, but most likely we should see a lot of pressure for Jones. Washington has a really high sack conversion rate when they do get pressure, and I'm expecting Chase Young and everyone in the front seven to have a really good game.
Yeah.
For Washington, they're surprisingly 2.5 point underdogs. Both teams are just awful, so I guess I could see it being anyone's game, but I assume Washington's gonna be winning. Alex Smith's bad, but they have Kyle Allen back. Who won some games for Carolina, and he knows the system a lot better. And New York's they're just so bad. I don't see Washington losing this game.
I agree.
So I'm probably gonna be betting on Washington money line this week as well, or even get an alt spread and get them minus like 3 or 4. So I don't see them losing this game, and their running game's been pretty well, so they should be able to manage the clock decently. But we can get back to props here. Where was it? Daniel Jones 19.5. Definitely pound the under on that. One of my favorite plays on the board. I'll probably end up being one of my cores for prize picks this week. Even though he's a little bit lower, 1 point shouldn't make too much of a difference.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting more than 1 or 2 touchdowns from Daniel Jones. You can get it done in his feet, which is a little worrisome, but it's not as relevant because not a high probability does get that.
Yeah.
So if he gets that, just unlucky. Happens with props. Some random stat always comes about that screws you over. But on the other side of things, you have Terry McLaurin, it's a close one. I probably need a touchdown to go over. But he's going to be lined up against Bradbury, which is probably the Giants' best cornerback. He did great in Carolina last year, shutting everyone down. So I expect McLaurin to have a little bit of issues, but I mean he's taking up like 60 to 70% of the air yards in this offense. He's really the only wide receiver who can do anything. He's projected for around 5 or 6 catches, 70 yards, which should put him around 13 and a half and 12 or 12 and a half. He gets that touchdown, he goes over for sure. But I can definitely see him having 7 catches over 100 yards, definitely. And Kyle Allen's going to have to rely on him because there's really no one else in this offense who can do much. I don't mind going over if you want to do the 2 for 3 over on Kyle Allen and Terry McLaurin and then under on Jones just to be a little safer. You get less of a multiplier, but it's definitely the safer option. So I like those 2 plays. There's a couple more I like in this. Devontae Freeman, you can build off of the Terry McLaurin. There's a 2 for 2. Terry McLaurin, 68.5 receiving yards, and Devontae Freeman, 55.5 rushing yards. And I like the overs on both of those. Touch on McLaurin, he's gonna have to take at least 30 to 40% of the passing yards for Kyle Allen. And if Kyle Allen just stays around his prop around 230, you're gonna see at least 90, maybe 100 receiving yards from Terry McLaurin. So I love his over. And then Devontae Freeman, he's been having a pretty good season for the Giants. I mean, Saquon couldn't do much. Devontae Freeman's doing as much as he can. And I keep wanting to say Redskins, but Washington football team, they've been pretty bad against the run. They're more of a pass rushing front seven, so I could definitely see Devontae Freeman going over pretty easily there. And there's some other ones. Gibson should have a good game. Slayton should have a good game. Slayton's injury is a little bit of concern, but I like their fantasy points overs too. But I won't go too in depth into those as well because we don't have time. But hop in our Discord. I'll talk a little more about this game. But I'm definitely liking a lot of overs in this game. The defense isn't the best. More worried about Daniel Jones's turnover issues more than anything. So that's why I'm kind of leaning under on him. But I still like the overs on the pass catchers for him. Just because you go under on the quarterback doesn't mean you have to go under on the pass catchers either. I know PrizePicks has that correlation issue where you can't play the pass catcher with the quarterback, but it doesn't always mean you go over on one, you have to go over on the other. But Slayton's dominating the usage rate in the passing game for the Giants, and I'm expecting them to be losing. So as long as we see in the morning that I'm going to wait for him to lock in anything with Slayton just to make sure he's playing or not limited. But as long as he has the green light to go, I love his over. But I can't trust it right now. Yeah, that's probably what I'm looking at in this game. And again, I'll have some more plays in Discord. Yeah. $15 a week, pretty good value, I would say. Can make that back easily off of just one prop.
And one thing, Joe, I think, and there are some good games this week. We're not going to go in depth on these games because we want to save them to Discord. It's not fair for Discord, but Atlanta Vikings should be a high total, should be a shootout. Chiefs, another great high-scoring shootout game. Cardinals Cowboys, another great shootout game. You look at these games this week. I think the games this week are some of the best games we've had all year.
It's gonna be a fun Monday night.
Personally, I know you and I discussed some props before the game. I think there's a lot of good props out there this week. This will probably be one of my biggest money invested games this week, I think. Just because there's so many good games out there. So hop in our Discord, like Joey said, it's only $15. You'll probably make it back easily this week. You'll want all these plays because I think there's a lot of good plays out there.
Yeah, there's a ton of games to target. Even that Green Bay Tampa Bay game is going to be high scoring as well. There's most of these games going to be a lot of fun to watch. You got a Mike Davis revenge narrative as well. You got a bunch of divisional games, which are always fun. I will caution, sometimes those division games are less predictable, and sometimes they'll play differently just because they know the team a little better. They have a lot more tape on them.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing I have to worry about just with those division games. But other than that, we should have a lot of fun games today.
Yeah, I agree with you.
We can move on to PrizePicks next.
Woohoo!
Unless there's anything else you want to touch on with Monkey Knife Fight.
No, I think that's everything. I do think PrizePicks is interesting this week, though, Joey. there's a lot of interesting plays on the board, especially after we went undefeated last week. So I think the first thing that stands out to me is you talked about that Washington New York Giants game, Joey. And I'm looking at the board on Price Picks, and they have Terry McLaurin 14.5. They have Ingram 10.5. They have Antonio Gibson 14.2. Am I crazy for going over on all three of those?
Not at all. Gibson's really involved in the passing game. He had
He is.
Kyle Allen did. When did he get injured? First quarter.
He got
And
injured early in the game, yeah.
Gibson had 3 catches for 21 yards with Kyle Allen in there. He ended up finishing with 5 catches for 24 yards, but 3 catches for 21 yards in the first quarter. We saw what he did with Christian McCaffrey. I mean, it's Christian McCaffrey, but we saw what he did with him last year. He loves those dump offs. So I'm expecting J.D. McKissick and Gibson to be pretty heavily involved. Maybe we can even see like a 50% target share out of those two combined. Just how Kyle and Allen works. So as long as J.D. McKissick doesn't take too much from Gibson, I know he always runs more routes than him. I think last week it was 24 routes for J.D. and 16 routes for Gibson. So it's a little timeshare in the passing game, but both of those are heavily involved. Should see 5-6 targets. So if you get 5 catches out of Gibson again for 30 yards, that's 8 points right there.
Yeah.
So either a touchdown gets him over or 60 yards rushing, which is perhaps 52. So
The numbers are just so low, and I know the offenses aren't that good, but neither are the defenses. I mean, I don't know what the over under is on this game off the top of my head, but I wouldn't be shocked if Washington puts up almost 30 points tomorrow.
yeah, we could definitely see that just because Daniel Jones might give him some quick field position too if he gets an interception or fumble in their own. I mean, it's a 43-point game total, so both of them projected for like 3 touchdowns about.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty low. I might end up going over, but I just don't trust the offenses enough to go over 6 total touchdowns in that game.
Yeah.
But we should definitely see some concentrated usage rate, which we do love for props.
Yeah.
So I do love those. There's a lot on the board I like. Even like Miles Sanders right there at 15, even though he's going against Baltimore. We saw what Joe Mixon did. I'm expecting something similar from Miles Sanders. He might end up with 6 to 8 catches just because Baltimore's... I mean, we could even see Hurts come in this game. I don't know how well Wentz is going to do. Does he have a prop here?
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, Wentz is at 16.5, which is one of the lowest of all the quarterbacks.
I will say though, he did play pretty well last week against Pittsburgh, and I think Pittsburgh has a really good defense. The only reason why I know this is because I had Wentz under fantasy points last week, and he went way over. So I would caution on that.
Yeah, I do. Both of them have really good defenses. So it's tough.
Let's talk.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to force it. So
Yeah, I wouldn't force that. I will say, though, watch out. There is a trap on the board. Zach Ertz, 9.5. Man, has the mighty fallen.
Yeah, that's
What do you do there,
crazy
Joey? Zach
storyline.
Ertz, 9.5. Are you playing that over, or are you just going to avoid that completely? Because I think it's a trap.
So over the past 2 weeks, he almost has more targets than yards. He has 11 targets and 15 yards.
That's pitiful. That's pitiful.
That's just insane. I can't believe it. He has 5 catches, 15 yards, 11 targets. I mean, he's running 95% of the offensive snaps, which is a season high both weeks. I just have to believe. I mean, let me check his air yards real quick. But
I mean, I don't watch too much Philly, but the games I have watched or the little I have, he's just not running deep routes. It seems like.
yeah,
Don't go behind the line of scrimmage, and I mean, I know he's not making people miss. I know that for a fact.
yeah, he has 30. He had 35 air yards last week, and ended up with how many yards? 146. John Hightower actually led the league last week in air yards with 207, and Fulgham right there at 9 at 146. So
Let's practice.
Wentz was slinging it last week, but not to Ertz. So yeah, I will probably avoid Ertz just because I mean it's a big board. You don't have to play it. No reason to. I mean, I'd probably go over on him just because I don't expect him to be this bad for too long. But I don't expect him to get a touchdown, so he needs 5 catches for 45 yards, which I don't trust him to get.
Yeah. I bring up Ertz though, Joey, because he's a big name. People know him, and they see that 9.5. You look at everybody else on this board, and they're over 10. He's the only guy under 10. And I want to caution people because I know right off the bat instinct is, over Ertz. But he has been really bad lately. So that's why I brought him up. Not necessarily because he's a good play on the over or the under. I'm not touching Ertz either. But just caution people because I know there's going to be people out there, take the over. He's too low. But he's just been really bad in that offense. So caution.
Yeah, I don't think I can go under on him just because if I go under on him, he's probably going to have a good game. And the game script's going to be in his favor. So there's nothing you can really do with that. Yeah, I actually think I have my favorite over on the board here. He's on the Bengals. He's playing Indy, which is it's a tough defense.
Don't say it.
But matchup-proof running back over here for the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Mixon. I know I traded for him in our Dynasty League, and you guys shit on me, but
I did. You're right.
He's dominating the usage. I think Gio Bernard only had 1 snap last week, and Joe Mixon over the last 2 weeks has 14 targets. He did suck in the running game, but we don't really care that much about rushing yards for props, especially fantasy points, because you get those. Receiving yards is probably the most important thing I look at for fantasy points for running backs, because that helps out getting that touchdown or bust. There's a lot of guys, say like Jonathan Taylor, who's not that involved in the rushing game, or there's tons of running backs you can think of just they're not going to be involved in the passing game, so they're really all touchdown or bust. Like Todd Gurley right here at 15.5. If he doesn't score a touchdown, he's going under. I mean, he's not involved in the passing game enough to go over. But Mixon doesn't matter the matchup. Even bad matchups, you're going to look for his over just because look what he against the Ravens. 24 rushing carries. They lost 27-3. He still had 24 rushing carries.
Yeah.
Granted for 59 rushing yards, but if they're going to continue to pound the rock just against a bad team, like we saw against Jacksonville, he had 25 for 151. Mixon had 8 targets. If you're going to give him 8 targets, that's 7 or 8 points right there. He's going to catch most of them just with an 8 out that low. So that's right there. You got at least 6 to 8 points, which is a touchdown. So you substitute the touchdown right there. He can easily get 80 rushing yards in the first place, but even in negative game script, he's going to get that 9 to 10 points from the passing game, which makes him an easy over for me, especially with the game script I'm expecting. I assume he scores a touchdown here with that usage. No reason not to. He's involved pretty heavily in the game plan. If you're going to give him 30 touches, I'm expecting a touchdown at least. Yeah. I love his over. He's probably my favorite over of the week, as I can see right now. So I'm probably going to be pounding that over. I know you're probably going to hate it, but too bad.
No, it's all right. I mean, I get the play. I'm right there with you, Joey. I think you said it best. When you're looking at fantasy points for running backs, you have to target players that catch passes. They're the more likely to go over.
The more predictable plays are the pass-catching running backs.
I mean, that's why I think, Joey, we have 2 more pass-catching running backs on the board. 3, actually, you could say. Hunt, Madison, and Davis.
Yeah, what's Hunt at? Let me see. I didn't see him. Yeah, it's a tough defense, but just like Joe Mixon like last week, you don't.
The backup running backs for Cleveland. Johnson.
Oh, Dearness Johnson's out too?
Yeah, he's out this week. So, I mean, it's going to be Hunt everything. It's a tough matchup, but he could break one. I mean, you got screwed over by Sanders last week. He broke that long touchdown run.
I had he had 80 rushing yards on like 12 attempts, and he had a 72-yard rushing touchdown.
He
Like that
did.
was the easiest under in the world. He had 8 rushing yards for 10 rushing attempts for 8 rushing yards the rest of the game.
You were tilting so hard in Discord
Like
when
that
that
was the easiest under in the world, and he just breaks out a 72-yard touchdown. I mean,
guys.
last week was just crazy.
I've never seen Joey so mad before.
It was the
Um,
easiest play in the world.
until last week with the Cooks injury, the Keenan Allen injury, Sanders' long run. Joey was so
Oh yeah,
pissed off.
we had one prize pick play miss just because the Texans defense easiest under in the world. Jacksonville goes for it on fourth down at
Yeah,
like the 5 yard line and just fumbles it,
yeah,
and the Texans defense goes over by one.
yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot
And
about
then
that.
Kenny Galladay goes under his receiving prop by one receiving yard.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
so many bad beats last week. I just want to forget about it. It's
so we
just
got some breaking news, Joey.
breaking news. Love breaking news.
Noah Fant is out for Broncos. Will not travel. So
Let's scroll down to Judy here real quick.
yeah,
Let's
he's
see
at
that.
11.5. Does Gilmore play? I
Oh,
don't know the answer.
I assume he got. There's no way Stephon Gilmore's ready.
Well, he tested positive for COVID last
Yeah,
week. It was.
yeah,
So
no way
that's
he's.
something we need to
Oh,
check on.
he practiced.
Okay, so he must have cleared already. So
Yeah,
I'm assuming
yes.
Gilmore probably shadows Judy.
Does Gilmore go in the slot? Judy's a slot receiver, I think, right? Let me see here. I can check that real quick.
Will you check that real quick? While you're checking, I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna mention somebody else I like. Nick Foles over
Nick
17.
Foles over. Well, I mean,
Playing,
he'll always go over. There's not much you can do about
playing
that.
Carolina. Carolina's defense blows. Not much of a running game either for Chicago. Nick Foles is at 17. That's 2 touchdown passes, 225 yards throwing. I don't hate that at all. So while Joey's looking that up, there's your other freebie. Nick Foles over 17.
Yeah, it looks like Gilmore does go in the slot a little bit. He doesn't complete. I know some corners just even if they shadow, they just completely avoid the slot. Still, I know Jair Alexander. He's like that. Even though he's amazing, he just won't fall into the slot. Even when he's shadowing.
Yeah.
But Gilmore does. He's got some snaps in the slot. Not a ton, but it looks like he will follow into the slot. But I don't see him primarily being a slot corner. I've never seen him 100% in the slot. Uh, even when they face slot wide receivers who are really good. So not expecting a full shadow, but he could definitely be there.
It's a low number, and you have to think Denver will be throwing the ball a lot second half.
Does is Lock
Superman.
is Lock back or is
Locke is back. Yep, Locke will be playing.
Oh, okay, that definitely helps.
Yeah.
Because ripping at a rough day.
And that's one monkey knife fight play, Jared, that we will discuss in Discord. That's one thing I was looking at earlier in that Bronco Patriots game. So, but we'll talk about it in that Discord, obviously.
Yeah.
So lots of good plays on Prize Picks. We'll have more in Discord. Lots of good monkey knife fight plays. So pay the $15, hop on in, make some money with us because we're making money. We are printing money.
Oh yeah, printing money as long as there's no injuries.
Yeah, not this week. We got our injury week out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, one week you always have that shitty week where just nothing you can do about injuries. You just gotta. That's why you follow bankroll management. Even the easiest plays in the world can still technically miss just because of injuries.
Exactly.
Yeah, nothing you can do about it. Follow bankroll management. I sometimes don't if the play is too juicy, but that'll happen. I'm a kid. I don't have anything to worry about, bills or anything, so. No kids, no wife to worry about. So if I blow my money, it is what it is.
Yeah. So,
Right.
but with that, Joey, I got nothing else. Go Astros Game 7 tonight. Wake up early tomorrow morning. Join us in Discord for more plays.
Go Luca. Luca's winning MVP next year. Got my Luca jersey on.
Well, NBA. Well.
All
But
right.
outside of that, I got nothing, Joey. Let's finish it off.
All right. See ya next week.
See ya.